the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week. And welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Business Story of the Week. I am your host, Joshua. And today the question is, well, it's more like a statement, really, because 2024 isn't over. It's not too late to make it your Kobe year, 2024 your Kobe year. But the question is how? How do we make it our year? Well, Deidre Henry, or Dee, we will call her today, is the founder of salesloft.com, thesalesloft.com, where she helps streamline businesses, monetize brands, and elevate lives. After turning a Zillow layoff into a success story within a year, Dee has been featured in HubSpot and VH1. She offers services ranging from copywriting to sales strategy, personal brand management, you name it. Dee's mission is to help entrepreneurs and business owners achieve their goals with effective strategies and tools. And today she's going to share her secrets, share her strategies with us, and hopefully inspire us in our journey today, this morning, this episode. Dee, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Dee, I'm quite excited to get into this. But first, like I always start off the show, your story of turning Zillow Will off into success story within a year is something we need to get into, right? But before that, as a child, did you always know you were going to get into this type of business? Did you always know you were going to get into digital marketing? Did you always know you were going to be an entrepreneur? What is the story of Deidre Henry?
I have been selling since a kid. I pretty much know that I'm the reason why my parents have high blood pressure because I've been able to sell them on
Whoa,
anything and everything that I want.
whoa, whoa.
Any toy, you name it. I've been selling and my whole life, and I always knew that going into sales, marketing was going to somehow be in my future one way or
Right.
another.
Right. Well, that is quite, of course. It's funny. Like I'm picturing you and selling everything as a little girl, and you're just like, I can see why your parents would have high blood pressure because you. I mean, you could sell them on anything. You could probably sell me anything right now. I'd probably say yes as well. But you've had your share of setbacks, of course, which includes the turning a Zillow layoff. Again, a success story within a year. Share with us the beginning of that journey, which you just did, but now into going into that transition, really, the journey into that layoff and turning it into a success story. What motivated you to go from that into starting the sales loft?
I have, like I said, I've always loved selling, and I've been in tech sales specifically for pretty much a decade. And
Mm,
after an amazing, amazing time at Zillow, I kind of, as most people don't see it coming, never saw like a layoff like in the cards. And once it happened, that just because it happened, it didn't stop my love and my passion for sales and for
Interesting.
coaching and teaching others how to get and sell anything as their authentic selves. And so that's
Wow.
what positioned me to kind of how do I open up my own space? So in this case, my own loft, especially since I
Right,
live
your
in
own
New
law.
York and we're in New York and we have lofts everywhere. So how do I have my own loft, my own sales loft, right? That I can invite you guys into, teach you guys the strategies that I have used to kind of scale working within these Fortune 500 companies for the last 10 years.
Wow, I love that. I love that. And you came from that, and then you're like, you know, screw this, being laid off and everything, but I can make it on my own. But the success story with the turnaround time within a year is very, very inspiring. And now you're inviting people to come into here. I'll teach you everything I know, and let's enjoy, just lounge here in this loft with Deidre, with Dee herself. Um, Talk to us a little bit more about what you do at this loft. Your work focuses on helping entrepreneurs, business monetize their brands. So that's very particular right now because today this is the era of solopreneurs. And to be successful in this solopreneur era, your brand has to be out there. It has to stand out. What are the key elements, so to speak, that a brand needs to focus on to start generating significant revenue? Not just generating significant revenue. I believe you have to stand out first. What does that entail? What are the elements involved around that?
I would definitely say that the personal brand and your story is what is the main element, right?
Right.
There is that phrase that no one is you, that's your superpower, because it's true. And so the way that even you're standing out as a solopreneur, or even if you're crafting your own brand, it all
Right.
starts with your personal brand and your story. Those are the two main elements that get the ball rolling
Hmm.
towards revenue generation. Like,
There you
why
go.
should we listen to you? Why
Yeah,
did you decide to
exactly.
come up with this product? Or why are you offering us this service?
Right,
Consumers now than
precisely.
ever definitely feel connected to brands and people that they can resonate with. We all do.
Yeah, especially the brand is something. I love that.
There we go.
Hello, Deidre. Hello, D. Okay, connection dropped off a little bit there, but thank you for sticking around a little bit. But yeah, I'll have the editor cut that bit part out. But you did say I love that it's very important for you for brands to be able to resonate because people resonate with personality, people resonate with authenticity, people resonate with the stories that you have behind your brand. So it's very, very important to be that is very significant actually is that's very important to have an image or that a face to get behind in when 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 starting your brand because then I love how you also said building your authority, building your trust. Because I feel that being able to do that, being able to put yourself out there, that is when you can truly start generating significant revenue. Um, talk to us a little bit about branding and monetizing that, and how do you transition from truly going to okay, I have a good brand. Say I have a good brand, right? When can I truly start monetizing it then?
When you can start monetizing is the first thing I think solopreneurs need to decide is whether they're going to actually offer a product or a service
Mm,
that they're going to
of
tie
course.
that brand to, right? If you have a specific interest in, for example, cosmetics, are
Right.
you against animal cruelty and you're going to go down the road of
Right.
providing consumers with your own cosmetic brand? Because now we can tie that personal brand and story about you
Right.
into what
Right.
makes your cosmetics different from someone else's or why you're offering
Yeah.
this service to people.
Hmm.
It all still comes back to you, and that's where you start the path towards
There
monetization.
you go. And that's it. That's it. It's like first of all, your your brand, what sets you apart, and then thinking of what you're going to promote, what you're going to sell, what you're going to be your offering is, and then you could truly and it's also one thing to match that, right? Match what you're promoting to what your branding is and what your expertise is going to be like, because that's the key. I think the keyword is being the expert, establishing yourself as the expert. But I understand that. branding or monetizing brands isn't just your expertise or isn't just what you offer. It's a sales loft. Again, it's a loft. We got you guys lounge around and talk about whatever else it is that you might need to start up your business to be successful in your journey, your career. What are other strategies and services, or rather, like the offerings that you have when lounging at the sales loft?
I want everyone to kind of get cozy and let's make money together. It's about
I
showing
love that.
people because that's
I
why you're coming
love
into
that.
the law, right? Like,
Hmm, hmm.
so I want everyone to, especially solopreneurs, like we're in a time where we have social media to our advantage. Use it.
Yes,
And
of
it's
course.
about teaching people how to use all of these different platforms. You're
Yes,
not
of course.
restricted to just Instagram or just TikTok.
Yes, of
LinkedIn is
course.
out there, Pinterest is out there. There's so much
Hmm,
available to you. Grab it by the
hmm.
horns and take it. Like,
I mean, right now is truly the era. We talked about that. Right now is truly the era of solopreneur, and that is made possible because of social media, of what we're doing today, what we're going to, the opportunities that it's opened up to us. Um, and again, this has also opened up opportunities and doors for digital entrepreneurs like we are, like the guests and some of our audience and listeners, to open businesses and to open up offerings like you do at the Sales Loft. Part of this is sales strategy and training as well, right? You offer a variety of these training programs. In your experience, what are some of the most common mistakes businesses and entrepreneurs make in their sales approach, and how can they overcome them? Or better yet, how do you teach them to overcome them?
I think that the common mistake is the lack of relationship building. I know that we all want to kind of generate revenue really
Right.
fast,
Of course,
but
that
in
is
order
true.
to build customer loyalty and actually have the biggest upsells that you'll ever see, you have to create that loyalty first and you have to
Right.
create that relationship. It can't just be
Wow.
so transactional.
Mhm.
So it's how can you message your customers, whether it's in as simple as a caption on Instagram or a long form post on LinkedIn that shows them that, hey, like, I understand you. You and I, like, we have a lot in common, and build and bridge that actual gap and form a relationship with them. And once you do that, that's what's going to make
Wow.
things pour in, and that's what's going to keep them retained too.
Yeah, and I love that because relationship building, I think, is the core of sales, right? You cannot just go straight in there and you can sell to someone. No one likes being sold to, by the way. First and foremost, no one likes being sold to. First of all, let's just sit down here on the loft and let's talk about making money together. But don't sell to me right away. Talk to me about my goals in life. Talk to me about my family. Talk to me about all that. And but also you're talking about how you're messaging, how you're tailoring your messaging online so you can connect better to those around you, to your customers. You can connect better to your clients and all that. Because relationship building, I love that concept and how you said that you can develop these relationships just through simple messaging around your captions and around your social media, because so much so the way we approach social media is like just putting ourselves out there, right? But it almost feels like we need to shift this in the way that how can I connect to my audience better so I can actually, you know, start selling without actually selling.
That's my
And
favorite part. It's the
that's it.
selling without selling. I mean,
Hmm.
consumers are smart. Like, they know when they're being sold to. And funny enough, maybe Instagram back in 2011 was for you and your pictures, but
Yes.
now you're using it for your audience. You're not
Yes.
talking to yourself. You're
Yeah.
talking to me and to how many followers that you have
That's it.
out there.
That's it.
So
Mm.
have a conversation with them just like you would have a conversation with them face to face. And that's
Mm.
what's going to actually build a relationship for you. Being
Yeah.
authentic and just talking to people as you would talk to them any other time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like just casually, we're friends. Again, we're in the loft. We're lounging together. We're talking about making it together, making it successful together at the same time. I love that the way you always frame this and the way you're talking about it. It's just, again, we're casual friends. We're lounging in here, but we're also talking about each other's success, and that's what you're sharing with us today here in this episode. D, today's digital age, personal brand management is crucial. We talked about that just now. Personal brands and monetizing it, maximizing it. What would you? I kind of want to circle back to that because it's quite important in when it comes to building, right, and maintaining a strong personal brand. What advice would you have for our audience and listeners, for individuals who are just getting into building that personal brand? Because it's one thing to set up a business Facebook page and that's your page, that's it right there. It doesn't have to have my face on it, but that's one thing, and that's a good thing to have as well. But you personally, as an individual, I think there is a lot that goes behind having a face or a brand that is out there that people can see, people can connect to. But people are reluctant to build that personal brand of theirs, right? What advice would you have for them, for people who are yet to build their brand, are only starting? And how do they make sure that their brand resonates with their audience?
The first thing that I would say is first is fear doesn't live here. So if you're going to be a solopreneur, that
I
fear is out
love
the
that.
window. You
I
need to
love that.
have a personal brand. It's one of those things that you need to do. It's to me, it's no different than you need to have a business bank account, right? There are certain things that you need to have. And
I
just like you
love that.
mentioned, the Facebook page, so you need to have a personal brand. And the way that you start it is actually, funny enough, by being reflective and journaling. It's about sitting down with yourself and looking back at your story, all the
Mhm.
highs, all the lows, because that's what
Mhm.
makes you who you are. And people
Right.
who have experienced similar are going to connect based off of that. So that's how
Right.
you literally go about flushing out a personal brand. I was pretty transparent that when I got laid off, it sucked. Like it was, it sucked. Like I was miserable, like as anybody would be when they get laid off, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
come to find out, me sharing publicly one of the lowest points of my adult life resonated with so many people. But what built the personal brand of it is we're not going to get stuck here in this low point. Like, we're going
Yes.
to overcome this together.
Yes.
So, this is what
Mhm.
I'm doing to overcome it. And now I'm going to share with you guys, if you've
Wow.
gotten laid off or if you're looking to build your own business, here's how we're going to do it together.
Wow. Wow. I love that. First of all, I love that fear is out the window. If you're going to get into this, you can't. You just got to go all in. Because this is, I see the struggle for most people that I see that are trying to make it out there in the digital world, the digital transform, trying to make money basically online, right? I feel like if you don't start monetize or building your brand first and foremost, I feel like if you're not really putting yourself out there as a brand, you are leaving money on the table. You are leaving opportunities on the table. But people are so reluctant about it because, like, I'm not a brand. I'm not a thing. I think if we shift that mindset in the way that you are creating a story around who you are, around your persona, and making sure that the communication or the story and the personality that you want to come through is communicated properly, then you approach your branding differently, right? But
I
it's
remind people that it's literally about the first thing that most people will say to me is, I'm just a service provider, or I have these products. I'm not a content creator. And it's when you mention the creation part, you need to create, you're responsible for creating your reality and creating
Yes.
awareness around the brand that
Yes.
you're building.
Precisely. I love that. I love that because it's you. It's your thing. It's literally your responsibility. If you do not craft the story or the narrative behind that, someone will do it for you. That's literally it. But also, when it comes to being a solopreneur, and when it comes trying to make it out today in this digital world, this trying to make money online, you got to go all in. You cannot just hide behind a meme page, so to speak, and then expect to, or a meme persona, and expect to make money out of it. You cannot. People want connection, and people that drives that connection and that awareness. People want to be able to connect to someone. This is something that you are familiar with, and this is something that you yourself you've overcome adversity. I love that you said number one, fears out the window, but also the low point. It's not it's not permanent. It's temporary, but you got to go all in. Talk to us a little bit more about overcoming that adversity and being able to stand out even if you're going through something tough, and still kind of like making it through and looking for that way out. And why online, or why digital brands or a service or offering, why do you think that is the way out for struggles like that? And why was it successful for you?
I think to start is when you look at the very famous phrase of you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, the great part
Oh,
is that there's so many billions of people in the world, so you're bound to be someone's cup of tea, but they won't know that you're their cup of tea if you
that's
don't
it. That's it.
share the actual teapot and pass it
That's
around.
it.
Right, for
That's
people
it.
to experience it and taste the tea and see
Hmm.
whether they like it or not. So that's the first step. It's just like we said, like you have to put yourself out there, and
Hmm.
that's what worked for me. It's I passed the teapot around, and I went around by doing that, knowing that I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But guess what? I might be Joshua's cup of tea. I might be someone else's cup of tea. And I wound up lucky enough being a good amount of people's cup of tea. And for those
Right.
who are into coffee or water or soda, that's okay. And
Right.
that's the
Right.
whole part of it. Like
Hmm.
you're
That's
for someone.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. I love it, and that is exactly what I tell my friends. We all have that friend who's like, you know, he, she wants to be an artist. She wants to put their art out there, or they want to be like so and so, but they don't want to. Like they're thinking like, yeah, who's gonna care? But the audience is vast. The seas are vast. You are bound to find someone who likes you or who likes what you do. You're bound to find your niche. And that's, I think, this is a key word, right? The niche. You are bound to find people who are, I mean, the internet literally is what that is, right? It allowed us to gather together, of course, it's kind of echo chamberish also in a way, but still, right? We get to gather together. You get to find kindred spirits that are, share the same values, share the same interests. And it's such a waste to not even try to put yourself out there.
It really
The,
is.
mhm. When it comes now to dispensing advice to entrepreneurs out there, of course you've done your training, you share your strategies to business owners and entrepreneurs over at the Sales Loft. What would be the common, you say, misconception or obstacle that most business owners face that you have come to face as well, and that you have come to teach others to overcome? What would, if there was one obstacle that you always see that they needed to overcome, what would that be? And how did you teach them to overcome it?
I think for all of us, and definitely for me, it's been about attaching ourselves to the outcome. And what I'm very big on is teaching people to detach from the outcome, right? Because we have what we can control and what we can't control, which is that
Mm.
outcome. But if you're focused on the inputs, the output is going to show up the way that you want it to show up
Mm.
eventually. There's going to be a yes after only so many no's,
Mm.
but you actually have to start doing it
Wow,
first in order to
I
get
love
there,
that.
right?
I love
I know
that.
that when we create content, we're just, I want it to do this, or you make a product as a business
Yeah,
owner and you're
yeah,
like, I want it to sell this amount of units in
yeah,
the first week that it comes out. That's not the part that's in your control. But if you
yeah.
detach from that outcome and focus on, actually, how do I make this product the best product that
Wow,
it
I love that.
possibly can be,
I
then
love
you're
that.
going to wind up with sold out units
I
because you're
love that.
focused on that input.
I love that. It's just detaching yourself from the results, or rather, really detaching yourself from expectations. You're not giving yourself expectations because you'll be. Oof. I mean, that's I like. I love that. You'll be disappointed when you expect, right? I mean, everyone knows. But also, I love how you said that you know it's not out of your control, it's something out of your control, so you're better off controlling parts that you can control, and part of that is making sure you are offering truly something of value. And might I add to that, before we even start thinking about taking from people, let's give something of value first. And I think that's where branding comes in. That's where content comes in, because you offer free value first. And it ties us back really nicely around selling without actually trying to sell. I love that, I love these insights. It's this perfect type of insights for our audience and listeners and for the show. To truly start wrapping this up, Dee, I want to ask you, what does the future look like for the sales loft? But more than that, what does the future look like for Deidre Henry? What are your personal aspirations, if anything, outside the sales loft? What is the future of Dee?
I have actually, so I guess funny backstory is that my dad actually was a track star and actually got his scholarships to college all off of running and track, and I've never been into it. And so I think on the personal side, I actually want to make dad proud and kind of see if we can test those waters.
Oh,
But like I
wow.
said before,
Mhm.
fear is out the window, so we're gonna just do it.
Right,
We're gonna
right,
do it. We're
exactly.
gonna try it, and we're gonna do it.
Mhm. Mhm.
The future for the sales loft is, I want to actually invite more influencers or aspiring influencers and content creators into the realm, because I think that a big problem that's happening right now in the digital space is creators get frustrated. You know, I can't get a brand deal, or I can't get this, or I can't get that. And that's because they're not actually thinking of themselves as solopreneurs. And they need to learn the art of actual sales and marketing to
Mhm.
promote themselves, their work, and actually
Wow,
show the value behind their content creation. So
wow.
that's what's next for the sales loft, is creating a influencer base that brands can
Oh,
connect with, that
wow.
have actually been trained in sales, in marketing, and they know when they're making a video for your brand, they know exactly all the aspects because they know how to sell to your audience.
Right.
And
Wow,
so
I
now
love
we're
that.
going to have, everybody's going to be on the same page of what is going to connect with the consumer to move this product or service forward so that we can all generate revenue together.
I love that. I love it. I love how you just tie it all in a nice little knot and just bring us full circle in this episode. Dee, thank you so much for coming on the show. I love to give you this opportunity. Where can we find you? Where can we learn more about the Sales Loft? And where can we connect with you? Where are you most active in?
I am a huge, huge fan of LinkedIn and of Instagram, of course. But
All right.
again, I would also, I think, like parting advice is if you are a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, and you are not actually investing the time in your personal brand on LinkedIn, you're doing yourself a massive disservice.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
connect with me on LinkedIn.
I
I
agree.
know that we're going to put the links for you guys down below, like so that you
Mhm.
guys can all connect. It is a great way to tell your story and meet not just your next customer, but your next client, your next business partner. All are living on LinkedIn. It's so much more than just a job hunting site. So, huge shout out to LinkedIn. That is definitely where I'm most active.
All right.
And you guys can either find me there or on Instagram at the Sales Loft for everything is the handle. And you guys can definitely, of course, reach out to me at thesalesloft.com.
All right, fantastic. And literally, I mean, LinkedIn, that's literally where we connected, Dee. That is literally how we got onto this episode together. And here we are today. Dee, thank you so much for your energy. Thank you so much for your insights. It's such a perfect, insight. Again, the topic is perfect for the show and for the audience and listeners as well. I hope you enjoyed this show as much as I did. I hope that the episode and the audience and listeners as well take value from it today. Dee, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Remember, guys, fear does not live here. So after you watch this episode today, you're going to get up, you're going to go out, you're going to do it today,
Let's go.
not tomorrow,
That
but
is
today.
it. Do it. There's it. Fear is out the window. Do it today. Dee, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you
To
guys.
all our audience and listeners out there, see you on the next one.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.